I'm James McBain from HELLRIPPER, and these are 5 of my favourite albums of all time. Megadeth, Peace Sells, but who's buying? One of the first metal albums I bought when I first started getting into metal, which was around 2008, I would say, when I was a teenager. I discovered Metallica and Megadeth for the first time, and immediately went to HMV, and I bought Peace Sells and Justice for All at the same time. So those are 2 of my first metal albums that I ever bought, and they were kind of blind buys because I'd heard a few tracks by each. I'd heard Peace Sells, I think, the title track. Yeah, Peace Sells, it's still, especially with my guitar playing, Dave Mustaine is just a genius when it comes to both rhythm playing, songwriting as well, and like lead playing. Of course, with Megadeth, you've got the 2 lead guitarists kind of bouncing off each other. You can sense the differences in the solos. You can tell when it's Dave Mustaine, and you can tell when it's Chris Poland or Marty Freeman or whatever, like whoever else was in the band. I've said before to people that it's the perfect combination of the rawness and speed metal of the debut album and the technicality and the, I guess, more thrash side of the Rust in Peace, which came a few years later. So it's like a dirty sounding album, but still sounds good. Around that time, all these thrash bands were like maturing, or whatever you would say, like with their second and like some third albums. So you had like Metallica going from Kill 'Em All to Ride the Lightning to Master of Puppets within those couple of years. You had Megadeth going from Killing's My Business to Peace Sells within those couple of years. And you had like Slayer going from Hell Awaits, Rain and Blood, and so on. So yeah, it's like right in that period of these bands finding their own sound, I guess. Yeah, you've got the bouncy rhythms, jazzy rhythms, I guess, that Megadeth are known for, especially early Megadeth. And yeah, the songs are they're all catchy. The riffs are genius. It's one of my favorites. Metallica, Ride the Lightning. And Justice for All, like I mentioned in the previous story, was my first Metallica album, and yeah, it's still one of my favourite albums of all time, but Ride the Lightning, I think, has had a bigger influence on me, at least in terms of like songwriting and composition and stuff. I think the songs are probably just a little bit better as well. I mean, you've got some of their songs that are just Metallica staples. You've got Creeping Death, you've got Fade to Black, of course, which, the ballad that people accuse Metallica of selling out for and stuff, with great guitar solos and stuff. Yeah, it's just an album, again, going from Kill 'Em All to Ride the Lightning, where Kill 'Em All is kind of straight speed metal, full on all the way. Ride the Lightning is kind of, adds in a bit of the prog, if that's the word you can use.
Dynamics.
Yeah, dynamics, yeah, I mean, you've got the acoustic song, like Fade to Black, and you've got the Call of Cthulhu, like instrumental, you've got Trapped Under Ice, Fight Fire with Fire, one of the best album openers I think of all time, like the little acoustic guitar part which everyone used from then, like the opening the album with the clean guitar or the false sense of security kind of thing, straight into one of their Metallica's heaviest riffs. Ride the Lightning has had like a big impact on the way I'm writing the next album. I don't know if that's deliberate or not, but with the next album, at the moment, of course, it's not finished, but I think I've been looking to kind of expand on song structures and yeah, kind of expand the sound a bit. So yeah, it's been a big influence in that respect, I would say. Toxic Holocaust, Evil Never Dies. Both in terms of sound, of course, Hellripper owes a lot to the sound of Toxic Holocaust, like the metal punk sound, the thrash kind of sound, but I think I discovered Toxic Holocaust. They were one of the first black thrash bands that I heard. Of course, as I was getting into metal, they were kind of becoming more popular. Just as I got into metal, their album, An Overdose of Death, had just been released. But it's their first album, I think, is where I get a lot of the Hellripper sound from, especially the early Hellripper stuff. And I think even more than the sound is the way that I was made is what influenced me the most. Joe Grind wrote and recorded everything at home by himself. And yeah, that was my thing with HELLRIPPER. I didn't know you could get good results from doing things on your own, doing DIY. I thought you have to record in a studio, you have to be professional. It kind of inspires me to, yeah, this is possible. Like, let's try it.
Why fucking wait for a drummer?
Yeah, exactly. That's the main problem, is I think many people can relate to finding a drummer that isn't in 15 bands already. So yeah, the artwork with the woman giving birth, or the guy in the rigor mortis t-shirt crawling out of the woman. Yeah, it's a gruesome piece of art that I think, again, I owe a lot to Toxic Holocaust for influencing me. One of the first bands that I got into in this style of music.
Didn't you play with them?
No, we never played with them. But Joel Grind mastered my Black Arts and Alchemy EP, which was, he done a great job. Of course, he knows what he's doing when it comes to the production side of things, so it was great to have him involved in something that I was doing. Midnight Satanic Royalty. I learned that the guy, Athanar, recorded everything himself in a very short period of time. And yeah, just like I mentioned with the Toxic Holocaust, very influential. Like, you can get these results with by doing things yourself. And the thing about Midnight that I like, similar to Toxic Holocaust, it's in the first wave of black metal kind of style, but kind of on different ends of the spectrum. Toxic Holocaust, you've got the more thrash, well, at least with Evil Never Dies, it's the more thrash side of things. Whereas Midnight, of course, owe a lot to Venom. Rock and roll, over-the-top lyrics, very catchy songs. Yeah, so yeah, we played with Midnight, one show in London back in 2019, which was great. Of course, one of my favourite bands, one of my favourite albums, so it was great playing with them, getting to meet the guys, really nice guys, and we were supposed to do a tour with them, a European tour with them in 2020, but of course that was cancelled for obvious reasons. Yeah, great band, still. Every album is always high up on my end of the year lists. It's a great band. Yeah, like I said, one of my favourites of all time, and yeah, that's my favourite album by them. Just everything they stand for kind of is perfected on that first album. A great band, great album. Dark Throne, Fuck Off and Die. Dark Thrones and Black Flags, and Circle the Wagons. I chose to put all these three together because I feel like they kind of come as a package. They're all similar in style, they all came around the same time. They've all got a bit of a different sound, I guess. I think from the first of the three, it's more of the metal punk, taken from the previous album, The Cult Is Alive. And then they gradually progress, adding, I think, more heavy metal elements, I would say, by the time they get to Circle the Wagons, and which they would then go on to do the Underground Resistance, which was, again, kind of stripped the punk away, and it was more heavy metal side of things. But again, those three albums, they're fun. That's the main thing about they're just fun. You can sing along to them. The vocals are just like so theatrical, over the top. You've got like Circle the Wagons, the track, the chorus, you can just sing so easily, it's fun to sing. A lot of them, the ones they call the Dungeon Shaker, like even the Fuck Off and Die, and it's just a fun bunch of albums. And of course Dark Throne are known for, I mean, being a black metal band, like raw, lo-fi, well, kind of black metal, like early 90s Norwegian black metal, and they gradually progressed into becoming less and less black metal, even though they've been adding a bit more black metal into the sound recently with their past few albums. But the 2000s, the mid-2000s, they were just full-on like worshipping their influences, which I thought was really cool. They're having fun with it, like you can tell they're having fun. And again, these albums are some of the first ones that I heard when getting into this style of music, like the metal punk, just the same as like Midnight and Toxic Holocaust. Again, these were, I believe they were recorded like DIY or mostly DIY at like their rehearsal studio. It kind of represents the genre, like the black speed, black thrash, metal punk, whatever you want to call all these styles of music. It's a very DIY, raw style of music, which I like, and it's what I like about being in Hellripper, like being able to do things by myself, being able to not having to wait for anyone's schedules and things like that. Yeah, just fun. I mean, yeah, it's the word you just keep coming back to, just fun.